answer. There you go. That's the story.
That's it.
Downer song, downer song, downer song.
Man, that's depressing. Hooray.
That's depressing.
This is a story about change. No, not that kind of change. Personal change. My personal change. Or should I say, my life 180. In 2010, I made a random decision that drastically altered the course of my life. To explain, I had been living in New York City for the last 12 years, in this apartment building in the East Village. Here's me in front of that very building on the day I moved out. Things were okay, but I had this underlying sense that I needed a change. 12 years in the East Village and I felt lost. I was empty. This is me on the rooftop of my apartment, spray painting my new $1,000 bike to appear old and crappy so it didn't get stolen. And just for the record, I had a total of 8 bikes stolen in New York. I knew I needed to do something drastic. I needed a change. I wasn't sure what it was, but my New York life just wasn't cutting it for some reason. I was reading books about happiness, self-help, existentialism, just to try and figure it out. At that time, my New York life was all about one thing: my band, The Sweet Ones. Here's us playing the living room, a great club that closed a month after this very show. I guess like everything cool, it eventually ends. I love the Sweet Ones. I put 9 years of my life into that band. We made 3 records, and a 4th that's still sitting on this hard drive on my desk. At this point, it's important to tell you that I also had a very different occupation in New York. As you can see, I was a commercial actor. Like most actors in New York, I had been trying to support myself through catering and other mindless temp jobs since moving to the city in 1998. But by 2010, I was actually starting to support myself with national commercials. You might not realize how much of your life is on your computer.
Then he said to me, "What about you, Dad?"
And just for comedic purposes,
Then he said to me, "What about you, Dad?"
little did I know those words would come to be fortuitous. Then, one early spring night in a bar in Brooklyn, my friend told me he was going out to Nantucket for a gig, and that's when it started. To this day, I'm not sure why or what actually possessed me, but I decided to go out with him. And that was it. The Nantucket seed had been planted. So I packed up my things, and I moved to Nantucket for the summer. I should mention that housing was still a problem back in 2010, so the only thing I could find was this old shed for rent. A shed! Who'd have thought, right? So I rented it. Hell, I should have bought the thing. It'd be worth millions now. To keep myself busy, I made videos for my friends and family back home to document my experience.
Forms of elegance here. We have the sink. The water runs, turns on. This is the best part. Look at that. Who needs drains, right? Right into the soil. Right? And that's pretty much it. So that was just to give you an idea of Whack Shack Live. We'll check in a little. I'll hopefully have some more pictures and blogs about what's going on in the Whack Shack life. We'll check in with you a little later.
It was a soul-searching period of my life. Having left my world in New York City to live in a shed and start working as a landscaper was a scary contrast. It wasn't until I got invited to a birthday party that things really changed. That's where I met Amy. We hit it off immediately. I have to say, looking back on it now, it was effortless. We totally got along, and Nantucket started to make total sense to me. I fell in love with Amy and got introduced to an amazing community of people. It's amazing what love can do. back to New York, and Amy and I continued to date. We both went back and forth between Nantucket and New York. I have to say, it was perfect. I spent summers in Nantucket, and in the fall I went back to New York. But the challenge that Amy and I had in front of us was going to be a true relationship tester, and now looking back on it, a huge part of my life 180. To explain, in the winter of 2013, I began to feel sick. I noticed I was having a lot of trouble singing. Something was wrong, but I wasn't sure what it was. I had no energy, and I was lying in bed all day. I kept thinking I had some sort of weird virus that just wouldn't go away. I went to a throat doctor who started treating me for acid reflux, but I continued to feel and get more sick. I knew something was wrong. Having been sick for almost a year, I finally went back to the throat doctor and told him, "Look, something's wrong. Can you please help me?" In the spring of 2013, I got diagnosed with stage 1/2 papillary thyroid cancer. My worst nightmare had come true. I underwent a full thyroidectomy. This is me a few days after my surgery. The experience of being diagnosed with cancer is brutal. It's transformative. I don't know if you ever fully recover from it mentally. I spent the first few weeks recovering and then headed out to Nantucket. The island and its community was a big part of my recovery process. Life post-cancer found Amy and I even more committed to each other. She got me through cancer, and I could not have done it without her. And I'll take this part of the film to say a public thank you and I love you. As if cancer wasn't enough of a surprise, Amy and I got the ultimate surprise. Piper Jane Cote was born January 18th, 2015. At this point, for me, the writing was on the wall for my life in New York. Piper was almost the completion of my life 180. The full completion came with our wedding. Yeah, I know we did it backwards. We had the kid and then the wedding. I just like to think that Amy and I are really progressive. In 2016, Amy and I got married in our front yard with Piper in tow. Real change takes time. Life takes time. But when you are patient and open, anyone can have a life 180. I took a chance, and I got the best life 180 a man could ask for. Life 180s are all around us. We just have to listen to our hearts and trust in the power of change.
My grandfather, a lawyer, he said, "Son, be an architect, just watch the world get built." And since they both retired, they sit around uninspired. They worry about their money and how hard they work for it. 'Cause color,
Roll the letter down. Say hi to him. I got it on video. Hi, bud.
Oh, you look like Duncan.